And welcome back to On the Record. Now in studio we have Kenneth Deer, former owner of the Eastern Door and freelance journalist. We're going to be talking about the Keith Miles situation and the federal court judgment for the injunction. And we're going to be discussing everything. It's we're back in that situation of looking at how can we deal with an outside court making decisions for our community. It's the first time this has ever happened in our elections. I guess it's a history-making thing, and I'm glad that you're here today to discuss it with me. Over the good or the bad terms, I don't know.
I don't know if I'm happy. Well, it's first of all, if you want to talk about the judgment first, and it's a nasty judgment. If you read the judge didn't hold back any punches. Yeah. He just absolutely destroyed the court of Guanajuato. He destroyed the tribunal. You know, he even named the names of the judges, the justices of pieces. And he just basically murdered the MCK in this in this judgment. I think it was unduly harsh. I mean, but nevertheless, that's what the judgment came down, and it totally undermines the election code. It undermines the court of Guanajuato and the authority of the MCK, and of course the authority of the electoral officer. You know, and it just shoots everything. It starts from zero.
I know.
It goes back. Actually, it goes back to the Indian Act, because it quotes the Indian Act here. It says that there's a violation of the Indian Act. Or the MCK is violating the Indian Act, and it's just a reassertion of federal jurisdiction over our everyday life in Guanajuato.
And we warned people, and we had the insight on our pundit show to say that, you know what, this may come and bite them. You know, they should have just let him run and let the cards go wherever they may, and you know, Keith is not the type of person who's going to back down. And I mean, and he's one of a lot of people that now, and it's not 20 years ago, today's times, that when somebody's not treated the way they feel they should be, they're going to go and get a judgment somewhere.
The question is, what did Keith Miles win? You know, he got the court to slam the electoral officer and the court of Guanajuato and the MCK and the election law. You know, but what did he gain by that? He wanted to be on the election ballot, and the judge agreed with him, and so. But now the electoral officer and the MCK are not going to put him on the ballot. So what has he gained? You know, all he's done is irritated a whole lot of people in this community, whether you vote or not, and whether putting the Keith Miles name aside. You know, what has it really been accomplished with all of this?
Well, I think that some people will say that. That it was a stepping stone, and you know, for future individuals who are going to run and not be put on the ballot, and some would say that it would tear the community apart, because you know it goes against all our jurisdictions. You were saying earlier off camera that the election possibly won't even be accepted.
That's right. What happens now, in my understanding is, and I'm not a lawyer, and I thank God I'm not one. If the MCK and the electoral officer ignores the judgment and the election goes forward without Keith Miles on the ballot, the next Grand Chief may not be recognized by the Canadian government. The Canadian government will say, "Well, that was an illegal election, and I don't have to deal with you." The rest of the council might, the other 11 chiefs may be recognized by the Canadian government, but the Grand Chief might not be. And what kind of a problem will that be? We'll be in another Guanajuato situation.
I know, and that's scary, because that went on for such a long time, and you know, it's still an issue in their community years later, and that the possibility is there. So, you know, with the new election, I mean, if the election goes through and then the Grand Chief is not accepted, then what do we do from there?
Well, you know, it's really always in the hands of the people, you know, and that's what it's supposed to be anyway. And I think this is where there was a fine line between somebody who challenges to go to outside court that challenges what's going on inside the community. Whether you vote or you don't vote, whether you're support the band council or not. It has an impact on everything. Mm-hmm. The Mohawk Council of Kahnawake has an election code, has an electoral officer, that has a court, and has its own mechanism, which is recognized by a part of the community, tolerated by the rest in many cases. Mm-hmm. So now somebody goes to the outside court and asks the outside, the Canadians to rule on that and change everything or challenge it, say everything in there is illegal. So but the community, at least those who support the band council, all those that voted for the band council are represented by the elected councillors, say, well, we're going forward anyway. So what happens now is in the hands of the people, really. It should be in the hands of the people whether to go forward. I don't know if the MCK alone should have made that decision. I think the original intent was to hold a meeting on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock to discuss this, a meeting called by Lindsay, and then they abruptly canceled that meeting because the MCK decides to go ahead with the council. Anyway, I think
that's scary ground.
That's a mistake.
That's scary ground because they're the ones that initially started this whole process to begin with, and that's another thing. You know what? We've talked about this, that it wasn't so much as how or what happened at the end. It was the process to go right through to make sure that it was fair for whoever it was. I mean, it's Keith, but I mean, there should have been a public hearing or inquiry and all these things. So I think it was the process that now it seems like it's become an us against them type of thing. You know what? How dare you do this to me? I made a decision. You're not supposed to challenge me. Mm-hmm. And then that's where we are now.
But it's really, in the end, it's in the hands of the people, and the people should have been consulted on this before the MCK made a public statement saying they're not going to listen to the judge. They're all up for re-election. Let the electorate decide that, whether they want Keith allowed on the ballot or not, but again, they're making those decisions without consult. It's possible that the community said, "Sure, go ahead anyway," and then united, all of the people together will be united and say, "We decided to go ahead with the election, and we will fight this."
And it would carry more weight opposed to just having one or individual or handful of individuals making a decision for everybody else. Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after these messages.